The novel The Story of Lucy Gault, written by Irish author William Trevor in 2002, follows the life of Lucy Gault, an 8-year-old girl, during the outbreak of the Troubles in County Cork. Mistakenly believed to be dead, Lucy's parents flee their home, leaving her alone to wait for their return. William Trevor weaves a partly allegorical, not entirely realistic tale that explores the enduring impact of Ireland's historical traumas. Upon its release, The Story of Lucy Gault received acclaim as a book to be treasured quietly, showcasing Trevor's mastery of prose. The narrative unfolds on a summer night in 1921, as Ireland struggles for independence. 3 local boys, driven by the turbulent times, attempt to set fire to Lahardane, the grand estate owned by the affluent Protestant Gault family, situated on the Cork coast. Captain Everard Gault, alarmed by the intrusion, fires a warning shot, accidentally injuring one of the boys named Harhin. Seeking to make amends, Captain Gault asks Father Morrissey, the Catholic priest, to convey his apologies to the Harhin family, but they remain unresponsive. In an effort to reconcile, Captain Gault writes a letter and later visits their home, only to be met with rejection. Fearing further violence, the Gaults, who have not specifically provoked the town's inhabitants but are viewed with suspicion due to Everard's service for Britain in World War I and his English-born wife, Heloise, reluctantly decide to leave Ireland and relocate to England. 8-year-old Lucy, who has cherished an idyllic childhood, wandering the grounds of Lahardane and nearby beaches, is devastated upon learning of her parents' plan to abandon Ireland. Her world is further unsettled by her parents' disapproval of the stray dog she has grown fond of. As the Gaults prepare to depart, Lucy's distress deepens, setting the stage for the emotional journey that lies ahead. On the eve of the Gaults' departure, young Lucy decides to run away from home, hoping to delay their leaving and make her objections heard. However, as she ventures into the woods surrounding their house, Lucy suffers a broken ankle, rendering her unable to continue a return. A series of misinterpretations and missteps lead the Gaults to believe that Lucy has tragically drowned in the sea. Faced with the heart-wrenching assumption of their daughter's demise and the constant reminders of their loss, they proceed with their plans to leave Lahardane, unwilling to remain in a place fraught with danger and sorrow. They inform their lawyer, Mr. Sullivan, as well as their loyal servants Henry and Bridget, about their intended departure to England. However, Heloise, Lucy's mother, harbors reservations about returning to her home country, and instead, the family embarks on a wandering journey through Europe, finding solace in their shared grief while living in exile. Meanwhile, Henry discovers Lucy in a critically weakened state and brings her back to Lahardane. Mr. Sullivan attempts to notify the Gaults of Lucy's survival through telegrams, but fails to reach them. Determined to locate the grieving parents, Mr. Sullivan sets off on a search, only to return empty-handed, unable to trace their whereabouts. Lucy grows up under the care of Henry and Bridget, clinging to the hope that one day her parents will return. Estranged from her peers and feeling like an outsider, Lucy endures a peculiar and solitary existence, residing in the family house where she immerses herself in reading and beekeeping. Consumed by guilt for what she perceives as her role in the family's separation and her parents' anguish, Lucy becomes trapped in a self-imposed isolation, diligently keeping vigil for her parents. She interacts solely with the servants, Mr. Sullivan, and the Protestant Canon Crosby. However, the tranquility of Lucy's sequestered life is disrupted when a chance encounter brings a young man named Ralph to Lahardane. Ralph works as a tutor for the Riles family in the nearby town. Over time, Lucy and Ralph develop a deep bond and fall in love. Ralph proposes marriage to Lucy, but she steadfastly refuses, believing herself unworthy of happiness without her parents' forgiveness. After Ralph's return from serving in the Second World War, he proposes once more, only to face another rejection from Lucy. Understanding that Lucy will never marry him, Ralph eventually accepts her decision and goes on to propose to another woman. In the meantime, Heloise and Everard have relocated to Switzerland, where Heloise eventually passes away. After laying her to rest, Everard continues to wander aimlessly, feeling a profound sense of loneliness. Eventually, he decides to visit Lahardane and to his astonishment, discovers that his daughter, Lucy, is alive. Initially, their reunion is fraught with difficulties. Lucy has grown accustomed to a solitary existence, while Everard longs for companionship. However, as time passes, they gradually develop an understanding and find solace in each other's presence. Meanwhile, Ralph learns about Lucy's father's return and is haunted by the missed opportunity he had with Lucy. Aware that visiting her again would only fuel his temptation to leave his wife, he chooses to stay away. Lucy, on the other hand, resigns herself to the unrequited love she holds for a married man. Eventually, Everard peacefully passes away in his sleep. Lucy's primary responsibilities now include caring for Henry and Bridget, but she also starts visiting a nearby asylum. Among the patients is Harhin, the boy whom Everard accidentally shot many years ago. Haunted by delusions, Harhin has spent nearly 2 decades in the asylum, firmly believing that he was responsible for Lucy's death. In his raving and delusional speeches, Harhin reveals the truth about the events of that fateful night. When Harhin eventually passes away, Lucy participates in his funeral procession. 2 nuns are struck by Lucy's serene demeanor during the march and decide to pay her a visit. The book concludes with Lucy embracing solitude once again, growing older, and finding peace as she observes the fading of the day. William Trevor, a renowned author who passed away in 2016, crafted 18 novels, 20 collections of short stories, plays, and non-fiction works. His remarkable achievements include 3 Whitbread Prizes, 5 nominations for the Booker Prize, and the prestigious title of Savoy, bestowed upon him by ASDANA, the Irish Arts Association. The Story of Lucy Gault stands as his 16th novel. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.